Hey guys, what up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aliff, and today's video I want to talk about my Sony A65 camera. And I've been using this camera for the past 2 years and I'm still using it till today, and I'm probably not going to be upgrading to a newer camera anytime soon. And I still think that the Sony A65 is still a relevant camera for a couple of years to come. And one of the primary reasons I'm still using this camera is because all of the content that I produce with this camera are most likely going to be end out on my own social media account. So despite having an option to shoot 4K, I'm still exporting my video in 1080p resolutions. And when it comes for jobs, I always do a freelance video editor job, which means I'm most likely to be get involved in post-production sites, which all I have to do is just wait and receive the footage from the production's house, edit the video, and then export to give it to the client. So I rarely do paid job with this camera. So all the videos coming from this camera are most likely to be my own personal passionate projects that I do for fun with my friends. And another reason why I still love to use the Sony A65 is because the small form factor. It's small, lightweight, versatile. I can easily go travel with this camera, and since it's low profile, it doesn't attract so much of attention to it, so I can easily take photos and videos in the public without drawing too much of attention to this camera. And also what I love about the Sony A65 is the ability to shoot in log color profile. Now with log, you can actually recover back all of the dynamic range later in post editing. So obviously you want to shoot with an S-Log2 profile instead of S-Log3, because S-Log3 require more color depth, which A65 sadly can only shoot in 8-bit color depth. So that's a limitation on this camera, but with S-Log2 8-bit and using S-Gamut 3 Cine color space, you can actually work around with the settings that you use with the S-Log2. And S-Log2 is actually more than enough for you to recover back all of the dynamic range and make your video look amazing. And of course, I have my own custom settings with S-Log2, so when I grade them later in post editing, the color won't be start to falling apart when I add the saturation and contrast, stuff like that in post edit. Now speaking about customization, I love to customize my A65 to become a mini cinema camera, and because of that I want to say thank you to Smallrig, because they send up some few parts to me to rig up my A65 and turns it into a mini cinema cameras. So I'm gonna basically show you guys all these Smallrig parts that I received from them and how I rig up my Sony A65 camera. So the parts that I received from Smallrig is the universal baseplate system that use 15mm reel support, a 15mm rod clamp, one set of 12-inch 15mm carbon fiber rod, 7-inch articulating arm, a power bank holder, 2 sets of QR NATO handles, a lens handle. This one is my favorite. It's a quick release plate. It's 2-in-1 Arca Swiss and Manfrotto quick release plate. It's a hybrid plate. And of course the Smallrig A65 cage and Smallrig safety rail system. So the first thing I did is basically attach both 15mm rod to the base plate system. And once I done that, I lock it in place. I took the rod clamp and attach it onto the power bank holders. Once I tighten it using the screws provided, I attach it to the rod itself. I removed the Arca Swiss plate away from the base plate system, and I decided to use the hybrid Arca Swiss / Manfrotto RC2 quick release plate onto my camera so that I can mount it onto the base plate, or detach it and attach it to my gimbal that use Manfrotto RC2 plate system, which is really convenient. I use the NATO handle as my top handle, and I mount it to the safety rail which attach it on top of my camera. And I use the long lens handle as my right side handle, which just simply screw on to the cage itself. I attach the articulating arm to the top handle so that I can mount my external monitor above my camera. I mount my power bank to the power bank holder, and I basically use my power bank as one of the solutions for me to power up the camera whole day without the needs of swapping batteries. Now I attaching my tilt-off follow focus system into my camera rig, and as you can see, I basically mount another rod above my camera so that I can invert my follow focus upside down. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm using a wired lens, which the focus pulling is in opposite direction, so I have no choice but to mount it in such a way so when I pull focus, it pull in the right directions. If I'm using a cinema or manual lens, I can just directly mount the follow focus onto the rod underneath my camera. I put a step ring in front of my lens from 72 to 77mm so that I can mount my 77 variable ND filter in front of the lens. Now I attach a small ball head on the left side of my camera so that I can mount and offset my bandbox transmitter, and then I attach the HDMI cable from the camera to the external monitor and then HDMI out to the bandbox for it to transmit a live feed view to the smartphone device. And then I attach the USB cable to the camera itself for it to power up the camera. And basically this is how I rig up my A65 using the Smallrig accessories. Now to demonstrate the practicality of the hybrid quick release plate, I'm gonna detach my camera from the base plate and attach it to my gimbal that use the Manfrotto RC2 quick release plate. It's really convenient and I can only use one quick release plate and I can mount it on both Arca Swiss and Manfrotto plate easily. Listen. We are in the end of the video, and if you have any questions you can feel free to leave a comment down below, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.